Hey, I'm Sophia. Before we start, go grab a snack and get comfortable for a bit. These stories take their time, and they are told the way I'd tell a friend late at night. I really hope you enjoy them. This story has one update on it and my own opinion at the end. Comment and tell me if you agree. Let's begin. My ex tried to ruin my new relationship, so I exposed her lies to everyone I knew. I was halfway down the narrow aisle between the bar stools when my phone buzzed so hard it nearly jumped out of my hand, and the screen lit up with a message preview that made my stomach flip. Hey, is it true you cheated on Tessa? And she has screenshots. The music in the place was loud, some pop song with too much bass. But the moment I read that, everything went muffled anyway, like someone had shoved cotton in my ears. I could taste lime from the drink I'd just sipped, sharp and sour, and I suddenly felt like I might throw up. Leo was right behind me, one hand on the small of my back to guide us through the crowd, and I could feel his warmth through my shirt, steady and familiar. I stopped so abruptly, he bumped into me. "Babe," he said, confused, trying to see my face. I didn't answer. My thumb hovered over the message while my other hand tightened around the edge of the bar for balance. My heart was doing that awful fast flutter that makes your fingers go cold. I glanced up and, across the room near the entrance, I saw her, Tessa, standing under the neon beer sign like she belonged there, hair perfect, lipstick sharp, eyes scanning the place. When she spotted me, she smiled. Not friendly, not surprised. A smile like a match being struck. It was a Thursday night and Leo and I were supposed to be celebrating something simple. 3 months of dating, 3 months of calm, 3 months of me slowly learning that love doesn't have to feel like a test you're constantly failing. We just finished dinner at a little Thai place down the street, the kind with paper lanterns in the window and sticky tables that smell like sweet chili sauce no matter how many times they wipe them. Leo had laughed at my terrible pronunciation when I tried to order in Thai, then reached across the table and squeezed my fingers under the menu like it was our private joke. I'd been light all evening, the way you are when you realize you haven't checked your phone out of fear in hours. Then we'd come to this bar because his friend was playing a set and it was supposed to be low stakes. 1 drink, support the friend, go home. I didn't know my past was waiting by the door with a freshly sharpened knife. For context, I'm 28F. Tessa is 29F. We dated for just under 2 years and broke up 8 months ago. If you've ever dated someone who can switch from affectionate to cruel in the same breath, you know the exact kind of confusion it creates, the way you start monitoring yourself, the way you apologize for things you didn't do just to get the peace back. That was Tessa. Charismatic, funny, always the center of the room. She'd bring me coffee in the morning and tell me I was her safe place, then later accuse me of flirting with a waiter because I smiled when I said thank you. When we broke up, it wasn't because I stopped caring. It was because I finally noticed I was shrinking. I was becoming quieter, smaller, like I was trying to fit into the version of me she could tolerate. The breakup was messy, but not explosive. I moved out of our apartment and into a tiny studio that smelled like fresh paint and had a kitchen so small I could wash dishes from the couch if I wanted to. Tessa cried, begged, then went cold. She said, "You'll regret this," in a voice so calm it sounded like she was talking about the weather. I blocked her on social media for a while, then unblocked because I told myself I was being dramatic. We weren't enemies. We were just done. That was my mistake. Assuming the story ended where I walked out, Leo came into my life slowly. He's 30, works in physical therapy, and the first thing I noticed about him was how he listened without trying to steer the conversation into a performance. When I told him I was anxious about dating again, he didn't laugh or call it baggage. He said, "Okay, what feels safe?" and waited. The first time he stayed over at my place, he brought his own pillow because he said mine looked sad, and I laughed so hard I snorted, and instead of making a joke at my expense like Tessa would have, he laughed with me, like the sound itself was enough. He wasn't perfect, we've had disagreements, but he wasn't a storm. He was consistent. And after Tessa, consistency felt like a luxury. Apparently, to Tessa, it felt like an insult. The first weird thing happened about a month into Leo and me dating. A mutual friend, Gina, texted me. Hey, Tessa said you were seeing someone already. That's quick. I replied, yeah, I am. It's not a secret. Gina sent back. She's telling people you cheated. I remember staring at that message while standing in the grocery store produce aisle, holding a bag of oranges like it was suddenly too heavy. I typed, deleted, typed again. I didn't. I wrote finally. You know I didn't.
Gino replied, Ido.
Just letting you know she's talking. I told myself it would blow over. People gossip, people take sides, people get bored. It didn't blow over. It escalated. Tessa started showing up in places she didn't normally go. She appeared at a friend's birthday dinner and sat 2 seats away from me, laughing loudly, telling a story about a friend who moved on so fast she must have been cheating the whole time. She kept glancing at me like she was waiting for me to react. I didn't. I chewed my food and stared at the candle wax melting down the side of the cheap table candle and reminded myself, don't feed it. Then she took it directly to Leo. She found his Instagram and messaged him long paragraphs about how she didn't want to interfere, but he deserved to know the truth. She told him I was manipulative, that I lied, that I'd been emotionally unfaithful for months, that I'd used her and then discarded her. She attached screenshots that were almost convincing if you didn't look closely, like messages supposedly from me saying I'd been talking to Leo while still living with her. Except the timestamps were weird. The phrasing wasn't mine, and one of them used a nickname only Tessa ever called me, something I never used for myself. Leo showed me immediately. We were sitting on my couch, his knee pressed against mine, his phone between us. I wanted you to see it, he said quietly. I don't want secrets. My throat went tight. Shame is such an ugly feeling because it makes you want to hide even when you've done nothing wrong. I didn't cheat, I whispered, even though he hadn't accused me.
I know, he said.
But she's trying to make me doubt you. I thought that would be the worst of it. A few pathetic messages, a few rumors. Then came the night at the bar. Back in the aisle, with Leo behind me and my phone buzzing again, I watched Tessa's smile widen as if she could smell my panic. Leo followed my gaze and stiffened. Is that, he began. Yeah, I said, and my voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. He looked down at my phone. What's that message? I swallowed. The air felt thick. She's telling people I cheated, I said. Again. And now she's telling them. I don't even know what she's saying now. Leo's jaw tightened. He didn't let go of me, but his hand on my back became firmer. Protective. Do you want to leave? He asked. I looked at Tessa. She was watching us like we were a show she bought tickets for. I felt heat climb my neck. Not just fear. Anger. A deep, clean anger. Because it wasn't enough for her that we broke up. She wanted to reach into my new life and break the things that didn't belong to her. No, I said, surprising myself. I don't want to leave. We moved to a quieter corner near the bathrooms where the music was still loud but the crowd thinned out. I opened my messages. There were more. A mutual friend asking if I'd given Tessa an STD. Another asking why I was abusive. My hands shook so badly, I had to set my phone down on the ledge and press my palms against my thighs, grounding myself in the denim. Leo's face had gone very still. She said you were abusive? He asked, voice low. My stomach twisted. No, I said.
No.
She's lying. Leo rubbed his thumb along my knuckles. Okay, he said. Then we deal with it. And that was the moment I realized. If I kept staying quiet, the story would keep spreading without resistance. Silence wasn't being classy. Silence was letting her rewrite me. I opened my notes app and started listing everything I had. Screenshots of Tessa's messages, the fake screenshots she'd sent Leo, the dates, the way the timestamps didn't match, the old texts where she admitted she wanted to ruin you, the voicemail she'd left 2 months after the breakup where she said, if you don't answer me, I'll make sure you regret it. I had kept them because part of me knew, even while hoping I was wrong, that she might do something like this. Leo watched me type. What are you doing? He asked. I'm done, I said, and my voice finally shook. I'm done letting her tell people who I am. Tessa didn't approach us that night. She didn't need to. She'd already done the damage she came to do. She'd planted doubt like a seed in any soil that was willing to take it. When Leo and I left, she raised her glass slightly in my direction, like a toast. In the car, I stared out the window at streetlights smearing across the glass. Leo drove with both hands on the wheel, jaw tight. If you want me to reply to her, I will, he said. No, I said. I don't want her to feel like she has access to you. He nodded. Okay. I could feel the decision forming in me like something settling. I'm going to send receipts, I said quietly. Leo glanced at me. To who? I took a shaky breath. Everyone, I said. Everyone she's talking to. Everyone she's lied to. That's the point where I'm going to pause the story midway like you asked, because this was the exact crossroads. Keep swallowing it or finally take control of the narrative. Tessa is the kind of ex who doesn't just want to be missed. She wants to be obeyed, even after the relationship is dead. Her behavior isn't heartbroken. It's controlling. If she genuinely believed I cheated, there are a million ways to process that without launching a smear campaign that targets my partner, my friends, and my reputation. The STD lie and the abuse implication are especially disgusting because those aren't petty rumors. Those are accusations that can ruin someone's life. Leo handled it like a grown adult, which sounds like the bare minimum, but trust me, after dating someone who weaponized doubt, a partner who says we deal with it instead of prove it to me feels like oxygen. The friends who jumped to asking me if I gave someone an STD should honestly be embarrassed. I get that gossip spreads fast, but if your first instinct is to believe the most humiliating version of someone you know, you weren't really their friend. You were just waiting for a story. And me? I'm proud I didn't run out of that bar crying. I'm also annoyed with myself for waiting until it got this bad to respond, but I understand why I did. I was trained by that relationship to avoid conflict because conflict always meant punishment. At some point, self-protection has to look like action. Being the bigger person can turn into being the quieter target. If you keep letting someone lie without consequence, they don't learn peace. They learn they can keep going. Update. So I did it. The next morning, I woke up with that heavy, sick feeling you get when you realize your life is about to become a group project for everyone you know. My phone was face down on my nightstand, and before I even touched it, I could feel my heart rate pick up. Leo was still asleep beside me, one arm thrown over his pillow, breathing slow. I lay there staring at the ceiling fan and decided I was going to be methodical, not emotional. Not because emotion is bad, but because Tessa thrives on painting me as unstable. I wasn't going to give her that. First, I made coffee. I ate toast even though I didn't want it. I sat at my tiny kitchen table and opened my laptop like I was going to work. I created a folder called Tessa Timeline and dropped in everything: screenshots, voice notes, emails, messages to Leo, the fake screenshots, and a written timeline with dates. Seeing it all together was like looking at a crime board. It wasn't one dramatic incident. It was a pattern. Then I called Gina, the mutual friend who had first warned me. Gina answered on the second ring, voice cautious, like she already knew what the call was about. Hey, she said. Hey, I replied. I kept my voice calm. I need you to be honest. What exactly is she telling people? Gina exhaled. She's saying you cheated, she said. That you were talking to Leo before you broke up. She's telling some people you were emotionally abusive. Like you used to stonewall her. I almost laughed, because the irony could have powered my whole apartment. Tessa's favorite punishment was silence. She'd ignore me for days if I disagreed with her.
Okay, I said.
Is she saying anything else? Gina hesitated. She told Kayla you gave her something, she said quietly. My stomach dropped anyway, even though I already knew. An STD, I said. Yeah, Gina whispered. I'm sorry. I closed my eyes and pressed my fingers to my forehead. Gina, I said, I'm going to send you proof. Not just my word.
Proof.
I need you to look at it and tell me you'll back me up when people ask. There was a pause. Then Gina said, Okay. I sent Gina a small set first. Tessa's voicemail threatening to make me regret it, plus a screenshot of Tessa texting me 2 months ago. If you don't answer, I'll tell people what I want. Plus one where she admitted she'd messaged Leo. Gina's reply came 10 minutes later. This is insane. I didn't realize she was doing all this. That sentence, I didn't realize, became the theme of my week. Everyone didn't realize until they saw receipts. Which is exactly why I finally stopped trying to handle it quietly. I wrote one message, and copied it to everyone who had reached out with questions or weird hints.
It said, "Hey,
I'm aware there are rumors being spread about me. They're false. I did not cheat. I did not abuse anyone. I did not give anyone an STD. I have documentation that Tessa has been threatening and lying, including fabricated screenshots. I'm attaching a short set of proof. I'm asking you not to participate in repeating this, and if you've heard it, please correct it." I attached a PDF with a timestamped sequence, her threats, her message to Leo, the inconsistencies in the fake screenshots, and a screenshot of my breakup date conversation where I clearly ended things and moved out. I kept it clean.
no insults. No emotional paragraphs.
Just facts. Then I sent a separate message to the group chat from my old friend circle. The one Tessa loved because it made her feel important. My hands shook when I hit send. Immediately, the typing bubble started. That horrible little animation of people forming opinions in real time. Kayla. Wait, what? Evan, different Evan than before, this is getting messy. Someone else. I don't want to be involved. And then, finally, a message from Nate. One of the guys who'd always defended Tessa because he likes dramatic women said, "Why are you doing this publicly? Just talk to her." I stared at that and felt something cold and sharp rise up. I replied, "Because she took it public first. I'm correcting lies." Within minutes, Tessa messaged me from a new number. A new number. Like this was a game. "You're trying to destroy me," she wrote. "You're obsessed. You can't let me move on." I didn't reply. I forwarded it to my folder. Then she messaged Leo again. This time, she said I was dangerous and vindictive, and that he should watch out. Leo didn't reply either. He took screenshots and sent them to me with one sentence. "Do you want me to block this number too?" I said yes.
He did. No debate. No guilt.
By day 3, the fallout hit. Some friends apologized. Not beautifully, not perfectly, but enough. Kayla called me and cried, saying she felt stupid for believing anything without asking me first. She said Tessa had told her the STD lie in confidence, like it was a secret she was burdened to share. That alone made my skin crawl, turning humiliation into intimacy. But not everyone apologized. A couple of people went quiet. One friend, Jana, said, "I just don't want drama." I wanted to reply, "Then don't date drama," but I didn't. I just said, "Okay." Because if your loyalty depends on life being convenient, it's not loyalty. Then Tessa escalated in a way I didn't expect. She emailed my workplace. Not directly to my boss. To a general HR inbox. She wrote a long message about how I was harassing her and that I had a history of instability, and she was concerned for my colleagues. She used my full legal name. She included my job title. She didn't have proof, but she didn't need proof to plant out. The email was polite enough to sound concerned, which is exactly her style. Weaponized seriousness. My HR forwarded it to my manager with a note asking if everything was okay. I sat at my desk staring at the forwarded email and felt my hands go numb. Then I did something I'd never done before. I asked my manager for a private meeting and told her everything. Not all the personal details, but enough. I showed her the threats, the fabricated screenshots, and the timeline. I told her I was documenting it and considering legal options. My manager, bless her, didn't act like I was a liability. She said, "Thank you for telling me. We'll flag any further contact as harassment." Then she asked if I felt safe commuting home. I nearly cried in her office from relief. That night, Leo and I sat on my couch, knees touching, and talked about what this was doing to us. Not in a dramatic, are we doomed way, but in a practical way. I hate that she's forcing herself into our relationship, I said. Leo nodded. I hate it too, he said. But I also need you to know something. He took a breath, looked me straight in the face, and said, I'm not leaving because of her noise. The only thing that would make me leave is you pushing me out because you think you're protecting me. That sentence made something unclench in my chest. Okay, I whispered. The next day, I consulted a lawyer. Not to sue her into oblivion.
Just to know my options.
The lawyer said what I already knew but needed to hear. Harassment and defamation are serious, but the best first step is a cease and desist letter, plus documenting everything. So we sent one. Formal.
Calm.
On letterhead. It demanded she stop contacting me, stop contacting Leo, stop contacting my workplace, stop spreading false statements, and preserve any evidence of fabricated screenshots. Tessa responded by posting another vague story online about people who weaponize lawyers. I didn't engage. 2 days after she received the letter, she messaged me again from yet another number. You'll regret this. Same phrasing as the voicemail months ago. Like, she couldn't help repeating herself. I took that message and went to the police station, not expecting them to arrest her on the spot, just to make a report. Because patterns matter. Because paper trails matter. After that, she went quiet. Not instantly, but noticeably. The smear campaign didn't vanish, but it stopped actively growing. People stopped messaging me questions. The group chat stopped buzzing. The attention shifted away from me. And that, honestly, felt like stepping out of a crowded room into fresh air. Now I'll finish the story. About 3 weeks after the cease and desist, I got a message from Gina. Tessa is telling people she's taking a break from social media for her mental health. I read that and felt a weird mix of anger and relief. Of course, she framed it as self-care. Of course, she turned consequences into a victim narrative. But the important part wasn't her spin. The important part was that she stopped. Leo and I didn't become instantly untouched by it. There were moments, especially at the beginning, where I'd flinch when my phone buzzed and Leo would reach over and squeeze my hand. There were moments where I worried he secretly believed her a little. Then he'd do something small. Show me a message immediately, ask how I wanted to handle a situation, make dinner while I sat on the floor sorting evidence. And I'd remember that trust isn't a speech. It's behavior. The biggest change was in me. I stopped confusing privacy with silence. I stopped thinking that defending myself makes me dramatic. I learned that when someone lies loudly, you don't owe them quietness. You owe yourself protection. Tessa can tell whatever story she wants now. The difference is, the people who matter know who she is, and the people who don't know were never truly my people to begin with. Tessa is exhausting in the most calculated way. She isn't the chaotic, impulsive kind of messy ex who drunk texts at 2 a.m. and then regrets it. She's the polished kind who builds a narrative, recruits an audience, and then acts shocked when the person she's targeting refuses to play the silent role. The STD rumor and the abuse implication are beyond petty. They're cruel, reckless, and honestly dangerous. Those aren't breakup feelings. Those are weapons. And the way she tried to slide into HR with a fake concern email? That's not heartbreak. That's sabotage with a corporate tone. She deserved to be exposed because her entire strategy depended on people being too uncomfortable to confront her. When lies live in whispers, the liar thrives. When the truth gets receipts, the liar starts calling you vindictive. Classic. Leo handled this like a partner, not a spectator. He didn't demand I perform innocence for him. He didn't secretly reply to her behind my back. He treated her messages like what they were, noise from someone trying to claw into a relationship that no longer belongs to her. That consistency matters. It's the difference between, I believe you as a sentence and I believe you as behavior. The friends who spread it or entertained it deserve a side eye and a long look in the mirror. Asking me if I gave someone an STD before asking if I'm okay is not concern, it's rubbernecking. But I'll give credit where it's due. The ones who apologized and corrected the rumor showed some actual integrity. The ones who hid behind, I don't want drama, basically admitted they prefer comfort over truth, and I hope they enjoy the peace they bought with someone else's reputation. As for me, I'm proud I didn't let shame keep me quiet. I'm proud I turned panic into documentation. I'm proud I chose a clean, factual response instead of a messy, screaming match that would have made her look right. And I'm especially proud I didn't let her poison my relationship by treating Leo like he needed to be shielded from my life. If Tessa wants to heal, she can do it away from my name, my partner, and my workplace. She doesn't deserve access to the life she tried to burn down just to feel powerful for 5 minutes.